Thank you for your polite and nice introduction. My topic for today, dynamic and value-added internal audit service. Well, I hope I can prove how dynamic internal auditors can be, because we are late and I try to be dynamic and quick with my speech and add some value to this conference to save some time. But first of all, I would like to pick up something what Natalie Berger said in the morning, and not only because we have the same surname, but because she said something very, very right and very important. She addressed some expectations to internal audit service, and the expectations are to give the top management insight and foresight. And I would like to add something to that, and also oversight. And we will come to that a little bit later. But, oh my God, insight and oversight, okay, but foresight? Internal auditors can give foresight. We are looking at things, what happened in the past. And if we are lucky, we are looking at things what happened in the present. But foresight, oh my God. And my dear colleague said, I have a dream. And I will answer with another well-known American, yes, we can. But how? That's the question. Natalie Berger said internal auditors need to know what to do, and internal auditors need to know how to do it. And when it comes to these questions, where is the red? Yeah. When it comes to this question, what to do, we will talk about the audit universe. Very important nowadays for us. I will explain it a little bit later, but let me say it in advance. It is so important because it answers the question how we come to a well-prepared multi-annual audit plan and a well-prepared annual audit plan. And this answers the question or the expectation to audit the right things. We have to audit the right things, and the right things, when we audit the right things, then we do what we have to do. And when it comes to the question how to do it, I would like to introduce you our balanced scorecard, because this is how we organize our internal audit service, and this is the framework and the vehicle for us to develop the internal audit service and to develop the knowledge and the skills of our internal auditors. Yeah. When we are talking about dynamics, then we have to look at our environment, and the environment obviously is pretty dynamic. If we look at the Latvian Public Administration Reform Plan for 2020, there are some really I'm looking for the right word. The reform in Latvia is going on, and our environment is dynamic for sure. And we have to meet the expectations of the of the people. We have to meet the expectations of the society, and the expectations of the society is, of course, movement towards the zero bureaucracy. This is not only in Latvian public administration the case, also in Austria and all over Europe, I'm sure. And we have to meet these interests with a reduction of supervision of the number of employees, and so on and so on. I don't want to go into details. I'm sure you know your administration reform. Just to remember that our environment is dynamic and our environment is developing, and it is developing pretty fast at the moment. Same topic here, some objectives or some goals of your plan. You can look it up afterwards, of course. But there is something going on. This is the message. What does this mean for internal audit service? When the scientific community, which deals with internal audit service, is talking in this context about co-development. What does this mean? Co-development means that internal audit service has to develop as their institutions, as their units, as the environment develops. So we have to keep the pace, if you want, if you let me say it in these words. A few big milestones, how internal audit services developed in the last decades. We start here in the 60s up to the 80s, where we dealt a lot with compliance. Then we developed in the 80s to the 90s, where we dealt with systems. We tried to improve internal control systems and the system of our audited units. This was in the 90s to the 2010s. We moved on to a more risk-based approach. We still dealt with systems, but we now also had a look at risk management and tried to say something about this. And here it starts to get interesting for us nowadays, 2010s to the 20s. We try to be a really trusted partner for the top management. A trusted partner for the top management when it comes to questions, how can we improve our business units? But we have the future aim, the future objective to deliver added value to improve the whole organization. This red ring means that our internal audit services, in my opinion, in Austria and also in Latvia, are in this area at the moment, more or less. Yeah. Of course, we are also still have a look at compliance and systems, and maybe we have sometimes a clue and a guess about how to improve the organization. You can see the same picture here once again. This is the strategy and the plan of the internal audit development for Latvia for the next years, and you can see that this is where this view matches very well the view we have here. So you try to get an initiator of change to move the management to improve the organization, your organizations. I said, when it comes to the question and to answer the question, doing the right things, knowing what to do, we have to answer the question about a good and proper and well-working audit plan. And how do we get to this audit plan? We basically, I would like to say, what is manageable is also auditable. And what does this mean? For example, in the public administration, I'm working in a ministry, for what the minister is responsible, everything for what he is really responsible, we as his instrument are able to audit. Yeah. And of course, there are some things which are not quite clear sometimes. What about outsourced agencies or state-owned entities? This is not quite clear. Can we audit? Do we have to audit them? Sometimes the minister wants us to audit it. Can we do it really? Sometimes we can, sometimes we cannot. We have to clarify simply these open questions. There are also white spots in our audit universe which has never been audited for some reason. We have to look at these white spots. And sometimes we have to face so-called red flags, areas which are not accepted to be audited for some reasons. And of course, we have to talk about this with our minister, and we have to solve this problem. And now we are here, which in my opinion is the core of answering the question, knowing what to do and auditing the right things. We have to deal with our audit universe. We have to know our audit universe very well. And you can see here how we in Austria as internal audit units look at our audit universe. Our audit universe, as I said, is everything what my minister, in my example, is responsible for. So this dark field here means this is our ministry. This is our ministry with all all departments and all sections which are in the ministry and below the ministry. But we have also deal with the present environment. The environment is developing, the environment is moving, the environment is changing, and our organization has to pick up the pace of this change, and of course it will change aligned with the present environment, and also the internal audit has to pick up this pace, and we have to co-development with our audit universe and with the present environment. And when it comes to the question giving foresight, then you see here the light blue environment is the future environment. But how can we know the future environment? How can we know this? Yeah, you know, we have to anticipate a little bit, and we can do it. Yes, we can. We have to consider in our audit plans megatrends. What do I mean with megatrends? We all have to deal with some demographic changes, for example. For example, in Austria, it is the case that our administration is very old. In the next 4 or 5 years, 2/3 of all our employees will retire, and this is a mega trend. And we, as internal audit, has to consider this, and we have to help our organization to be fit for the future, to continue with good work and not get lost in this bad situation of retiring a lot of people. We have, for example, megatrends. Digitalization. We have megatrends with migration. You know, maybe I'm from the Ministry of Education. Of course, migration is a big issue for us. We have geopolitical crises. You, as Latvians, you know it maybe even better than we as Austrians, what this means. And of course, we have to consider the increasing prices of energy and so on and so on. Yeah. But to get back to the core, what do we look at in our administration? We are looking at management and organization. What does this mean? This means we have at this top position, we have the top management, we have here the vision, the mission of the organization, we have here objectives. In simple words, we have here what the organization wants. At these operations, what does this mean? We have here not what the organization wants, but what the organization actually does. And we, as internal audit, have to give the answer if this matches what the organization does in reality with this, what the organization wants. Self-reflection, basically, this is the second line in the three-line model. This is, in simple words, what does the organization think they are doing? And how do the organizations see themselves? And here, changes and projects, here we are again at the point of foresight, because here we are dealing with new things, with projects, with the change of the organization. And here we look how dynamic is the organization. Do we have a static organization or do we have a dynamic organization? And if it is dynamic, is the movement and the dynamic of the organization, is it on purpose or on accident, you know. We are auditing in these fields, and we are looking at how good and how well are these aspects matching together or not. Yeah, here we have again environment and some things our organization is influenced by, of course, of legal, regulatory and fiscal compliance, by the governance and the government, by the nature of politics, and so on and so on. We have to consider all this when it comes to create good and interesting audit topics which are creating added value to our organization to be fit for the future. This is our task. Yeah, I already said everything about this. Yeah, the advantage of this perspective of the audit universe is internal functions, to know internal functions of the organization context, nature of the organization, if it's static or dynamic, and so on, and so on. Yeah, you know. The balanced scorecard of the ministry is about learning and growth. Learning and growth of the whole internal audit unit to be able to keep this pace of changes and dynamic environment. And not only the unit as itself, but each and every auditor should be developed. And I skip forward to, yeah, here it was, I think, to the value aspect. I just want to shortly introduce how our internal audit balance scorecard works. We have here 4 perspectives of internal audit, and we have also 4 objectives. And one of the objectives of the internal audit in our strategy is to create added value for organization, of course. And how do we do it? As you can see, we have 20 aspects we have a focus on, and for each of the 4 perspectives, we have 5 aspects. And when it comes to create added value, we have to develop the object or make sure that we are working with objectivity, with audit competence and proficiency. We do this via our audit activities. And our audit activities are starting with an audit engagement, of course. At the end of the day, we will report this to our minister, and our recommendations will be implemented. And this implementation of our recommendations ensures the added value we can create for our organizations. And how are we doing it that our recommendations are implemented in reality? We do not stop by the final discussion with our recommendations. No, we make sure that our audited units are confirm us that they will implement our recommendations, meaning who will do what until when. And we write this also in our final report, which is reported to the minister, and we we have a lot of success with the implementations of our recommendations, in my opinion, because of the confirmation for implementation. To cut a long story short, I hope I could develop my message. The further development of the internal audit systems fits quite good the Latvian public administration reform. The audit universe covers the management and performance of entities. If we follow this perspective of the audit universe, we will come to good audit plans, we will come to a point that we are really auditing the right things. And how do we achieve this, that we are doing the right things in the right way? Yeah, we develop our internal audit units and we develop our auditors with the help of our balanced scorecard. That's it for the moment. I hope I didn't bore you, and I'm looking forward to your questions.